guest with us. We have with us Mr. Ted Weisgall, and he is the writer of Robert's Rules for Kids. How are you today, Mr. Weisgall?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
That's good to know.
Mr. Weisgall, can you please tell us about the involvement that you have here with the Student Council at Jack Yates?
Well, about midway through last semester, that would have been around October of 2015, a parent from Jack Yates High School asked me to come over to the campus, and that parent's name is Jerry Monroe, and he said he wanted to introduce me to Mr. Kenneth Davis, the principal here at Jack Yates, and he wanted me to help start a student government at Yates High School. And the faculty was consulted, and they were asked to nominate students that might be live wires and might have the skill, the talent, the enthusiasm for starting a student government. About 60 students were nominated. We asked those students why there should be a student government at Jack Yates High School and why they should be on the committee to write the bylaws. Of the 60 students that were nominated, about 55 said they would be interested in participating in this essay exercise, and they were informed that about 20 of them would be selected to take the skeleton of bylaws and convert them into a document that would help to create a student government here at Yates High School.
Okay. And as we know, he has written a book entitled Robert's Rules for Kids, a guide to teaching children from kindergarten to the 5th grade the basics of parliamentary procedure. But as we know, you are at a high school, as a matter of fact, Jack Yates High School. So, and this book is directed towards kindergartens to the 5th grade, correct?
It is, but there's a chapter in here that says, what if you didn't learn Robert's Rules of Order from kindergarten to the 5th grade or in middle school? How do you play catch up?
Right.
And most students don't even know most people don't even know what Robert's Rules is.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's where you go to a meeting and someone says, I move that, someone else says, I second it, then the person chairing the meeting says, is there any discussion with the maker of the motion? Please speak in favor of your motion, and then asks for opposition to the motion, and then people vote. And that's the essence of Robert's Rules of Order, but there's much more to it than that.
Okay.
So, do you have any other books, or are you working on anything right now?
I'm working with a professor at the University of Houston who actually joined me here on the Yates campus this morning for a unveiling of the bylaws that are going to translate into the creation of elections and the creation of a student government here at Yates. And we are working on a second edition to this book that will help teachers. Well, actually, a second and a third edition. The second edition will fill in some of the blanks that we found in the first book. And then a third book we're going to write is going to be Robert's Rules for Big Kids. And that will be for people from the 6th grade through the rest of life.
Wow. Okay.
Well, as we know, you have written this book and it has been very successful. But my final question to you would be, do you have any other books besides Robert's Rules for Kids?
No, my background has been in writing short stuff. I founded and ran an organization called Leisure Learning Unlimited. We founded it here in Houston in 1979. I had a friend by the name of Kathy Kamen, and she said, why do you keep working for all these other people? I had worked with a lifelong learning program at the University of Houston, the University of St. Thomas, and a third program that was run independently. And so finally I decided to take Kathy's suggestion and urging, and I said yes, and she helped me. And for about 32 years, we wrote short descriptions of classes on everything from Robert's Rules, the class I have taught for all those years, to classes in canoeing and computers and sailing and foreign languages and all that kind of stuff. But this is my first, this is my first entree into writing a book, that I did publish this catalog of classes for all those years.
Also, Ted, I know that you're involved with the HISD Student Congress, so can you tell me about your involvement with that?
I had a student in my leisure learning class, the class in Robert's Rules, and the student was Juliet Stepech, who was about to become the president of the HISD school board. And one day I called her up and said, now that you've taken my class, why don't you come to a workshop that's going to happen down in Galveston? And she said, oh, I can't do that, but I've been really thinking about you, because there's this new thing that's happening in HISD, and it's called a Student Congress, and I think they could use your help in writing the bylaws and running their meetings and so on. And so for about, their whole existence, I have been a consistent adult attendee. Adults are oftentimes welcome, but I'm the regular attendee. This is a student organization run by students, for students, and while I offer suggestions, sometimes they take them and sometimes they leave them. But I am acting as a mentor to the new president of the Student Congress. Her name is Amy Fan, but I also worked with Zakir Tamez and Raquel Douglas, and they were the people who initially formed, actually Zakir Tamez formed, and then others jumped in, and it's going very well. I have an association with a radio station here in Houston, KPFT Radio, and through my connection with KPFT, I was able to encourage them to apply to have a show on that radio station, and it didn't go through the normal vetting process. They got it on right away, and it airs every other Thursday from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I've made a few suggestions to the people on that program, but once again, student run and student directed.
Right. Well, Mr. Weisgall, we would like to thank you so much for interviewing with us for JYTV. And again, this has been Madi Bay
and Jaleisha Bass
with JYTV.
Now I can say a 4-letter